Hey there, my name is Taylor. This is Hack & Company at RE/MAX River City, and this is Real Estate Remarks, where we decode a little bit what's going on in real estate, and we answer your frequently asked questions, including, what's the deal with all these multiple offers? Well, honestly, what's going on with the multiple offers in the greater Edmonton area isn't isolated to us. It's North America wide, and it's actually a COVID effect. So when you take a look at what's happening with the average family that's driving them to want to move, it's pain points. The reason that they bought their house has changed. They often buy their houses to live out of, and now we're forced to live inside of our house. They bought in a great school zone to control the limit or the walk to school, and now the kids may have to school from home. They may have bought a property with a high location value near the center of the city, near downtown or other capital landmarks like the University of Alberta on the south side, and it could be that they no longer need to go there because they work from home, and that results in not enough space in their home. So, what do you do about all these pain points? Well, it turns out that most people have a budget because all the money that they used to spend on travel and entertainment has suddenly become available to them. So they're solving these pain points using real estate, and it's created a lot of demand. Honestly, there's not as much else to do. It's not like you can go on these stellar vacations anymore. There's a lot of things that are changing, but one of the things that you could do to change your everyday life is change where you live. So we can understand why it's popular, but why is demand overtaking supply in a market that hasn't been known for that over the last few years? Well, supply is also hindered, meaning that there's many Edmontonians that are still cautious about having strangers in their home given COVID, and they wouldn't be comfortable to host showings, so they're staying off the market. So what do we have in the mix? Well, we have a situation where demand is outriding supply significantly. So if we look over the last few years, what we see is when you bought a property to the market, there was normally only one buyer for every two sellers. So that meant that you kind of had a 50-50 shot if you look at it statistically. And how well you executed ended up securing your outcome. The more information people have, the more that they're able to adapt to the market, because it's not realistic that most people would know how to participate or win coming from the outside, not having paid a lot of attention. But once they do, over that 60-day period, they tend to make some price changes, almost like acclimate to the market, and then there it is, the sold sticker goes up. Now that's a much longer period of time, but there was also different outcomes. And what I mean by that is I think around the last 5 years, you'd be safe to say that it was about 2 to 3% discount from list price to sale price, where that's really not common among desirable properties right now. So with this shift, a property comes to the market right now, and really, if it's a well-represented property that's a good example of real estate, and it's a single-family detached house between 400 and like 550, there is a fair chance that we will see more than one offer at once. How does that happen? Well, let me take you through the timeline. Normally, a property is listed. The moment it gets listed, it goes live on our MLS system, which is also how it gets out onto realtor.ca. Now we call this day zero. So on day zero, every agent is notified, and agents can set up criteria searches on our Pro Tools called Paragon for their buyers so that they know immediately when a property is listed. Then they respond. Often, depending on what time of day that property is listed, they may even see day zero showings, which historically haven't been as common, but that could end up with one showing being exciting about the property, prospective buyers deciding to take action, writing an offer and sending it in, and then just as the listing agent receives that offer, it turns out that the showing right before then or right after then has also had time to discuss, and now they're presenting an offer. So the agent takes this over to their seller, and they should give them great advice, which would include the option to go into multiple offer process by disclosing to those buyer parties that there are multiple offers, or they could also choose to negotiate with them independently without disclosing the existence of an offer. So you can see kind of how the trap is designed, and it's actually designed to protect consumers. Because if you were to negotiate with them independently but try to play one against the other, well, then you could end up disclosing the offer, and suddenly you have to go into a multiple offer process, which is designed to be transparent to a point. So you get to know how many people you're competing with, you get to know the agents of the people that you're competing with, but you don't necessarily get to know their offer. And the seller can only accept one offer. They can decline all the offers, or they can also counter one offer, which means that they have to let everybody else go so that it keeps it from playing once against the other. So we know we hear the term bidding war, but honestly, it is more like a silent auction where everything is put forth, but you don't get to see what other people are offering. So a little bit different than what most people might expect. And then out of that, the seller's going to choose an offer. A lot of people would think it's only price, but there are other factors to an offer that can play. Like even if it was a great price, if the possession just doesn't work for that family that's moving out, maybe they have to go find a place, maybe they're waiting for a build to complete, then they just won't be in a position to accept that offer. Or they could choose to see if that's the one that they're going to counter. But if it was really close in price with another offer, they just might win on possession alone. One of our teammates, Tony, won recently because of something outside of the hard facts of the offer. So imagine a situation where the price list is the same, the possession's the same, the deposit's the same, and all the conditions are the same. Well, then how do you make a decision? Well, it turns out that there's a percentage of people that put offers that are subject to financing that can't get to the finish line. And there are ways to kind of understand what's more likely or less likely. So a lot of the conversations with sellers can sometimes be about the other parts of the package. Like, was there a pre-approval letter included? Was there a home inspection already set to show organization and intent to finish? These outside factors are becoming major factors in other markets that have been hot for a long time, like Toronto and Vancouver, where they're seeing regularly properties listed at $1 million selling for 1.3. But it's really interesting in talking to the agents as regularly as I do to discover that you can't just set a list price of 1.3 because it'll be crickets if you do. Instead, you actually have to do what they call playing the game, and what I see as pricing into traffic. So what I mean by that is that multiple offers, if you look from a really wide angle, are just, they're like a symptom of the problem. And the problem is that the market's moving faster than we can measure through list prices. Buyer demand is so outweighing seller supply that when those offers come in, they're going to go up over list price. And how does that even work? Like, isn't there an appraiser there to say, hey, this is the top or this is finished? Well, actually, if you look deeply into economics, you'll understand that the price of anything is based on what a reasonable buyer will pay. So in a situation where you have many buyers that are willing to pay above asking, who is an appraiser to argue with those types of statistics? And off we go. So it's going to be a pretty interesting year in the greater Edmonton area. I'm excited for so many of our clients to have a great experience in real estate. Even if they're not buying and selling, we all love it when the real estate that we own rises in value. And it's very likely going to look like somebody in your household, if you own one of those single family dwellings that are in that price point that's really hot right now, could already be gaining value almost like somebody in your house just got a part-time job. So this is really exciting. It's actually a relief for me to be able to be giving some news that is not what we've been seeing over the past few years where we saw properties diminish in value. This is going to be really interesting, and it could be a long-term trend for Alberta. So to kind of decode multiple offers, the reason that they're happening is because of demand versus supply. The reason that supply is limited is due to COVID. The reason that demand is increased is due to COVID. So the question is will this be sustainable? Well, what we're looking for is hopefully some net migration improvements, more people moving to Alberta for the affordable housing here, as well as hopefully jobs to be announced. And if that's the case, we really could see something like 06, 07, or what we refer to as the boom. So welcome to the Roaring 20s. My name is Taylor. This is HACK&Co at RE/MAX River City, and we wanted to tell you a little bit more about working with multiple offers and how you can understand what the heck is going on. I hope that you have a remarkable day.